Welcome back to the show, everybody. If you are an XRP holder, I think this could potentially be one of the most important videos that you're ever going to watch. There's a call for a breakout today. If it continues to hold over 30 cents, we'll talk about that. But more importantly, I want to share some information with you that I believe that there's a great, or at least a high potential outcome for XRP to absolutely be a security, and what it may mean after it gets such a designation for all of us that are holding the asset. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. BitTrue was where we start this morning. Says they have NEM snapshot to come along. It says, then why not put those coins to use with investment on BitTrue? A brand new roundup of lockup investments for NEM starts tomorrow at 10 UTC, where you can get 7% APR on your assets. I tell you, I know a lot of people contact me and absolutely love locking up their investments with BitTrue and earning interest, especially during a time like this when there's so much uncertainty about things. It does feel good. I know a couple friends of mine that are really happy to have their stuff locked up. So make sure you check out BitTrue and what they're doing there. Let's get right into this morning. Will Ripple ever issue a stable coin through Ripple? It can support third-party stablecoins. It says Ripple can support third-party stablecoins. The firm is unlikely to issue a Tether-like coin for general circulation. Emi Yashikawa, XRP is a complementary to stablecoins and can assist with settlement. I think what they're saying here is we're not looking to launch a digital dollar ourselves, right? They're looking to be a bridge currency, and anybody who wants to bring assets and tokenize anything of value, whether it be digital dollars or not, you can certainly launch and issue a stable coin off of that network. But for Ripple, the company, they're not looking to get in that particular business. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't someday see a stable coin issued off of XRP itself, but that doesn't mean that it's going to act as a digital dollar, though. Okay, so let's just keep going here for a second, because we have some very important information to look at today, and I want to get to it in just 1 second here. Right here, I want to shout out Michael Val 5 Links. Ripple started a strong rise after forming a base above 25 cents against the US dollar. XRP price is currently rallying, and it is likely to continue higher towards 35 cents. Well, that is interesting to me. And then we look here is the actual chart from Ant1. Shout out to you. And looking on the chart here, I just want to show you, here is the yellow and blue line where they talk about the 50 and the 100-day simple moving average. And they're basically saying if it continues, you can see slightly it's broke above that triangle. The symmetrical triangle pattern has come into the picture. It's suggesting that the expected breakout above 30 cents will be so massive that XRP may rally to 48 cents. Well, where is XRP right now? Right now, XRP is sitting at 30 cents plus above where they're talking about it could potentially continue to break out to 35 or 48 cents. So let's keep an eye on that. And that's a pretty miraculous thing should it do that underneath of all the pressure that we have going on with the SEC Ripple lawsuit and the class action. So let's go ahead and look at this, because this brings us to that. And this is the lawyer from Legal Briefs, and shout out to him. He takes apart a case just for a second to give all of us XRP holders an idea about a potential outcome. We're not saying this is going to happen. He's not saying this is going to happen, but he's looking in the past to find information that could potentially show us a path of how XRP may get sorted out through the SEC Ripple lawsuit. Let's listen to what he says here for 2 minutes, and it's pretty impressive. And he's going to use the KIK coin, right? The KIN, the KIK coin, KIK. Let's listen to what he says about that. He's going to start right here where the decision was rendered and they had to pay a $5 million fine, and then other things that he lays out. Let's listen to this and then get into the rest of the information here. I think you're going to really have if you haven't considered XRP being a security, I think this video really should get you to that place. Let's listen.
And actually, after this final judgment was entered, the Kin coin price actually spiked. I think it more than doubled, but that's not my focus today. That's for other people. Now, here's what caught my eye instead. Let's take a look at Roman numeral 2. It says that with respect to the tokens already issued and any new issuances of the tokens, the defendant must provide notice to the SEC 45 days before any sales. It doesn't say that it cannot sell the coins, just that it must give notice to the SEC. Now, I thought that was very interesting, so I went back up to section 1, and there I saw that the defendant was being enjoined from violating security laws in the absence of an exemption. Now, remember, the SEC could have drafted this any way they wanted, and they decided to allow for sale under exemptions. Interesting. So I went down that road a little further, and here's what I found. Now, going to the SEC website, I found the SEC Rule 501 Regulation D, and let's just take a quick look at that. This regulation allows for sale of unregistered securities to, quote, accredited investors. You just have to file something called a Form D with the SEC, and it's just something saying what is being sold and to whom, and then you can sell securities as long as they are to accredited investors.
Okay, currently right now, most of us are not accredited investors. Let's keep listening and keep that in mind.
And here are what accredited investors are by definition. Basically, what you are seeing is that the SEC is supposed to protect the small investor where there is a large imbalance of power between the seller of securities and the buyer. However, if the buyer is a sophisticated investor or a company, they are considered an accredited investor, and you can sell securities to them by simply filing a Form D with the SEC. Now, I kind of knew about this before. I just didn't know that the SEC would allow it even after a successful litigation like in the Kick Interactive case. So, allow me to take off my lawyer hat for a minute and do some now semi-educated speculation. My last video ended with a question as to what would happen to the XRP and Escrow if Ripple was not allowed to sell it. Now, some people said that the price would go up. I think that some of the more sophisticated responses were that the coin sales were needed in order for Ripple to continue its work on XRP coin usage cases and to finance operations, and that without the sales of XRP, even if the price spiked initially, it was not going to be beneficial for XRP prices in the long term because of the disastrous effects on Ripple. But now we have a new twist on this, because in the case where the SEC actually wrote the judgment against the company, its desired effect was to allow sales of the coins to other companies and large investors, only not to the regular old, Joe Smith on the street. Now, this solution, as applied in the SEC v. Ripple litigation, would allow the sale of XRP, but at a slower rate than previously planned by the Escrow. Now, this solution would allow Ripple to continue its operations while still decreasing supply and thus increasing demand and probably the price. And that price action was exactly what we saw in the Kick Interactive litigation at the end after the final judgment was entered. The price went up drastically and stayed up as Kick sustained its business operations.
Okay, so what I get from this is obviously he's not saying that's what the outcome will be. I'm not saying that's what the outcome will be. I'm asking you to consider that something very similar that rhymes like this or something just like this as the potential outcome, so we can all speculate on what it would mean. In my eyes, understanding what he's laid out here, if this were to be a rendered decision where it becomes you have to be an accredited investor to buy and hold XRP, what it would tell me is that every one of us that are XRP holders now become some of the luckiest people in the world. I firmly believe that XRP holders have the potential to become 1%ers of the world, which is the richest 1% of the world. That's what that means, right? And I believe that potential is very possible with this asset, knowing what its full-scale intended use is. Now, as we move forward here, let's take a look at this. This is a very quick clip of Michelle Bond. I played it the other day, telling you exactly what Ripple does. They serve financial institutions, and they are not consumer-facing in any way.
partnering with financial institutions and we're operating within the existing regulatory framework. That's actually always been the bedrock of Ripple's strategy. That's something very important to us. The other thing that I think sets us apart is that we're really changing the infrastructure for cross-border payments, and we're not consumer-facing in any way. So I think that also sets.
You hear Monica Long in that one? Yeah, exactly. But what they needed for us for in the beginning was to show that they were an open, free, decentralized market and opening up to retail just to create the ecosystem. Potentially what we're looking at now is the door being closed when it gets a security designation, if it should get that designation. And then it may be potentially, they say, you must be an accredited investor at the very least to be able to get this asset. This now positions us and moves us away from the retail market, which is interesting because listen to Dilip Rao say exactly this.
So it's kind of chicken and egg. You have to create a marketplace. And right now we have
You had to create a marketplace. That's where it all starts with us.
150, 200 exchanges around the world that trade in XRP. A lot of it, as you say, is very shallow trading by individuals. And that is not the use case that we are pursuing. What we are pursuing is the use of XRP as a financial asset by sophisticated institutions as a bridging mechanism. So does this hurt or harm? Well, it creates a lot of noise. And, we certainly don't want that much noise. But we're waiting. And for example, this last quarter, the bulk of XRP sales were to institutional investors. And as this transitions away from retail to institutions who start to use it for wholesale, financial usage, that's when the turning point will come.
And there you have it right there from Dilip Rao from Ripple. Well, if that's not enough for you, turning and pivoting away from retail, listen here from Brad Garlinghouse himself.
XRP is listed. It has liquidity at, I think, around 75 exchanges around the world. That has expanded a lot as we have brought volume and as we have brought, these institutional flows. We are not, and to be very clear, we are not focused. I've said this a bunch. The consumer speculator is not our target market.
I don't know what else you need to hear. That is 3 people from Ripple telling you that this is not a consumer-facing product. This is not for the consumer speculator. It is not our target market, and he has said this a bunch. Now let's hear this guy tell you what he thinks, because this guy has just been appointed as the new SEC head, the new chair for the SEC, Gary Gensler.
The live XCurrent is the thing that they're using most right now, and that's just an alternative for Swift that doesn't even use their coin.
So Hugo was asked about the token XRP and whether I think it's a non-compliant security. I've spoken publicly. Yes, I do think it's a non-compliant security. But this will not be resolved just by the Securities and Exchange Commission. It will be resolved by some courts, whether it's appellate courts or the Supreme Court. So what I believe is just that. It's a belief.
Okay, so well, now knowing that he's going to move and be the head of the SEC, the new Jay Clayton is Gary Gensler. It's more than just a belief with your hands in the air, right? Because now he's got some real power because he is the head of the SEC, which made me scratch my head. And I asked a question yesterday, why is Brad Garlinghouse so happy to invite and welcome the new head of the SEC, knowing full well that he thinks XRP is a security without even batting an eye? Well, it's because Brad Garlinghouse told us that this is not for us. We are not the target market. And we have known this. Anybody who's been in this for any time understands that that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean that they don't appreciate our effort and the things that we've done. In fact, I feel there's a great potential that we will be rewarded greatly for it. It's not financial advice, but it is what I believe. And I believe more and more each day that we will get that security designation of some kind. And that's why I keep making videos to really impress upon all of us to collectively start considering what the outcomes could be if it's not a currency designation. And looking here at all of this evidence, I think we've made a pretty good case that they are about to pivot away from retail, which means they're about to move to their full-scale intended use with institutions and financial institutions as well, that this becomes extremely exciting to me as much as it is scary for all of us in the same light. What I can say is that, obviously this is the most interesting thing I've ever followed in my life. I am in this thing, hero or zero, as Mr. XRP says. And all I can tell you is that, I do not know what's going to happen. But I do know that these things I showed you are from Ripple. These comments are from them. These comments are from the new appointed SEC chair, that he absolutely unequivocally sees Ripple and XRP as an unregistered security. So the potential here is that, it moves to a ruling similar to the Kick coin, right? And it ends up being a situation where you have to be an accredited investor to get it. There may be a 45-day period before they can start selling to accredited investors. We might be in a lockout for a little bit. And then once that opens up, I'm not saying we'll become accredited investors right away, but we may become some of the luckiest people in the world that they change the way, at least here in the United States. At least here in the United States, we may become some of the luckiest people in the world to actually get to hold this asset, because you may need to be an accredited investor to do so afterwards. That's going to do it for me. And before I get out of here, here's what else you got to do to be an accredited investor, is to buy SPVs on Link2. I'm going to tell you, this is exactly why I love this company. And I have said this from the very beginning, because look, they had Coinbase, they had Ripple, they had Robinhood, they've had all of these things, and now they still got Uphold, SoFi, Link2 stock, Kraken, they got Upgrade, Marqeta, and all the rest of it. And what I can tell you is the reason I've been showing you this is, one, they're a great company with great people in it. And two, it's a great community. They have a lunch and learn tomorrow. You should get the free app and you should join that community. You do not have to be an accredited investor to be a part of the lunch and learns and the community seminars and things they have, the webinars they have. They're really wonderful, and you get access to some really great people in the space. But aside from this, one of the things I've been saying about showing you this stuff is that I believe someday, not too long from now, all of us will have the chance to become accredited investors ourselves. I really do believe that, but it is a belief, and that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and make sure you share with somebody you know and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Remember, I Trust Capital. It is the best crypto IRA offering and gold and silver IRA offering in the space, bar none. And I will catch all of you on the next one.